Hey there, friends. Brian King, the Mindset King here. I've been feeling a little sentimental the past couple days. Just celebrated, I think, 13 years of being in private practice, self-employed the other day, when I started my social work practice to start working with families that are struggling with challenges around Asperger's, ADHD. And it also got me thinking about the fact that we are in Autism Awareness Month, Autism Awareness Day, International World Autism Give Somebody on the Spectrum a High Five Week. I don't know. There's so many of them. And I really don't participate, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I was also thinking back to about 2005, when my oldest son and I were diagnosed with Asperger's. Talk about a paradigm shift. And having to rally all of your resources and reconsider what it means for you to be a human being in light of this new information. So much happens when you get that diagnosis. But something unfortunate also happens when you get the diagnosis. People's prejudices around that diagnosis come to the surface and begin to shape how they see you. And it can lead to stigmatization, which in my way of thinking of it is a way of penalizing the unfamiliar. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. A lot of diagnoses, a lot of opinions about people with disabilities, mental illness, is based on the fact that so much about how they show up in the world is unfamiliar with the mainstream folks. You know, the people that are walking, talking, relatively good health, don't have a lot of executive function issues, are, quote, normal, whatever the heck that is. And they take it upon themselves to consider themselves the majority, the norm, the correct version of humanity. So they see somebody in a wheelchair, maybe they see somebody with cerebral palsy that's walking a little differently, or maybe their speech is affected by it. You come across somebody that's in a wheelchair, they're maybe shorter because they have something developmental going on. And then there's this conversation they have in their minds. It says, wow, what's wrong with that person? Man, look at all the stuff that's just weird about that person. And that's not coming from any kind of moral authority. That's just coming from a bias towards what's normal for you, what feels right for me. Oh, what's like me and my friends? What's like me and my friends is familiar, and because there's so many of us, it must be right. So I'm going to look upon you as somebody who has all these things that's unfamiliar, that's not like us, and I'm going to say, you're weird. There's something wrong with you. You're just too different. Whatever language they use. They're disqualifying me, one of my sons, or somebody else, simply because there's a lot that appears to be unfamiliar. When the reality is, yeah, maybe there is a lot that's unfamiliar on the surface. Puppies are getting involved here too. So on the surface, things look unfamiliar. But where's all the similarity? The similarity is beneath the surface, right? But hold on. You might actually have to suspend judgment and maybe even get to know me to see the familiar. Because they say don't judge a book by its cover. And let's face it, some covers look really beat to hell, mine included. You ever seen a book at the library, an old book, or a book that's just been checked out a lot? It's got a bent cover, it's all marked up inside, maybe there's some pages that are ripped. Okay, the book is beat to hell. Does that mean there's something wrong with the book? Does that mean it's a lousy book? Does that mean the contents must be boring? Absolutely not. Nothing about that cover tells you how much wisdom is in that book. The only way you're going to find out is to say, well, that book looks like it's been through a lot. That must be a heck of a story. Let me get beneath it, get into the pages and see what it's got. Same with people. When you look for the familiar in them, hey, let me hear this person's story. Let me ask them about their day. Let me listen for the stuff that is human. The stuff they go through that's just like the stuff I go through. Oh, you had to deal with traffic this morning too? Me too. Oh, you like this restaurant down the street? I've been meaning to try it. Why don't we meet up there? Oh, you have fears? You want to be loved? Me too. When you forget to be prejudiced, when you forget to be nervous, or uncomfortable simply because something about someone else is unfamiliar, when you refuse to judge by the cover, or at least suspend that and wait until you get to know the person and discover there's more familiar with them underneath, in their heart, in their spirit, more familiar than there will ever be different, the time will come where you will forget any prejudice you flung upon that person because you're too busy enjoying their company and the connection that you forged with each other, simply because you took the time to see the human and not the disability. So that's just my 2 cents on this morning. Don't forget to share this so other people can benefit too. And if you want to talk more about this topic, shoot me off a message. We'll hop on the phone. Until next time, this has been Brian. Thanks for being you.